once again with the Farm2Table Direct Show out here at Ozarks Homesteading Expo 2024. And we're standing here with our friend Monty Schrunk, the Suburban Sodbuster. You've seen him a few weeks ago on our show there at as we had that live. Well, now we're live with him here at Ozarks Expo. And we're going to talk to him just a little bit about what he's doing out here and some things he has for us to show us here today. So, Monty, glad to see you out here, bud.
Great to be out here.
Absolutely. So why don't you tell us what you got going on today?
All right, so we're out here at the expo promoting the idea that keeping bees doesn't have to be hard, and promoting some concepts for keeping bees naturally. We're kind of outside of the conventions of beekeeping, but following practices that that giants before me have laid the foundation for, showing that we can keep bees without having to work so hard at it. I promote kind of 5 principles of keeping bees naturally. I encourage people to keep bees from their local climate, encourage people to avoid supplemental feeding, to avoid treatments, to support the bees' nature through the hives that they use, and to minimize the interventions. So I'm out here showing people the lay-ins hive that I promote. It's a horizontal hive to help the bees to build their comb more naturally than they would in the stacking boxes of a Langstroth hive. Also have a lot of resources out there to help bees, help bees too, but to help people learn about bees and get some information to help them get started in their own natural path of beekeeping. But we got several books here on learning about bees. We got Keeping Bees with a Smile, which I think is a foundational work, and the Keeping Bees in Horizontal Hives. That's actually an edit of George DeLayon's book from, I believe, 1892. So kind of the original book, original words of the master in how to keep the lay-ins hive. We got several books by Thomas Seeley talking about how bees live in the wild and how they make decisions of the colony. So some information that a lot of people might find interesting, basically kind of following my philosophy that if you want to keep bees, it helps more to learn about bees than to learn steps for keeping bees. The more you understand the bees, the more you know how to help them. Right. So we're out here promoting that, have been having a great time talking to people all day long, and I'll be talking tomorrow, giving a talk on these same concepts.
Okay, right. Natural beekeeping, I think is what I read there.
Yeah.
There we go. So so talk to us just a little bit. I know we just talked about the book, but just kind of a little bit about the lay-ins and kind of show us a little bit of that.
Sure. If a honeybee swarm moves into a cavity in nature, the way that they're going to build their comb is starting from the top and building that comb down in, obviously building vertical comb, and then they're going to build that comb in a horizontal configuration. So they'll build one sheet of comb and another next to it, another next to that, and so on. The lay-ins horizontal hive, or any horizontal hive really, supports that by setting up a place where the bees have a single layer of frames, and they build the comb starting from the top of the frame and moving down and moving on to the next frame and so on. Why I particularly like the lay-ins hive is they have a deep vertical space on that frame that allows the bees to build out enough vertical comb that's adequate for them to prepare for winter. So when I first started getting into beekeeping, I went down to a seminar by Dr. Leo Sharashkin, and I saw him demonstrating the lay-ins hive, and he was preparing his hives for winter. And he showed how he left 2 full frames of honey for the bees and the brood frames that the bees would winter on. Because he keeps locally acclimated bees, they had stored enough honey on those frames to get through winter. And, the bees know how to be bees better than we know how to be bees. Right. So he provided an environment for that, and he got done showing how to do that, and I stood there saying that can't be that easy. It doesn't, I've heard everybody say it's hard. You got to make these calculations to figure out how much honey to store. And I tell you, I've been keeping my lay-ins hives, getting them ready for winter using that practice since I started beekeeping. And so far, my winter survival has been 93%.
That's pretty good.
Which is much more than what I was told to expect when I got into beekeeping. So, it just makes it so much easier on the beekeeper, and I think it makes it a better environment for the bees.
Right. Well, there you go. I mean, that's what it is. What the bees need. I mean, that's it. Now I'm going to step behind you just for a minute because I seen this when I was standing here. I'm going to switch sides. We're going to do this, but seeing how they build their comb inside these frames, you know, and you can see an empty one here beside it, and that's a pretty thick comb that gets in there. I mean, that's for those of us that like honey and honeycomb, that'd be a good treat right there if it was live and ready to go. But so there you go, folks. That's quite a bit of a difference in what these lay-ins do and how much of a comb that gives us. So that's pretty cool.
And they build it all out naturally. And if we hand it up here for a second.
Oh, yeah.
One reason I have this out here demonstrating is because one of the products that we're selling out here when we encourage people to keep local bees is I sell swarm traps and encourage people to use swarm traps to catch bees locally when the honeybees swarm in the spring.
Right.
And so I have this frame of comb out here, you know, nice old frame of comb. You can see how dark that is. That's comb that the bees have, you know, raised up several generations of brood on that frame.
Right.
And so having a nice old piece of comb like that in your swarm trap is super valuable for attracting bees. The bees come in there, the smells associated with that comb let the bees know that bees have been there before.
Right.
And
it worked.
That helps them to know that's a good environment for them to live.
Okay.
So,
well, good deal.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's also a great demonstration when kids come out. We can bring that out and talk to them about the comb.
Yeah. Showing the demonstration and the psychology of bees.
Yeah.
Go. All right. That is awesome stuff right there, folks. Well, Monty, I'm glad that you've come out, man. I mean, this is one, it's great weather, and two, it's a great,
fantastic
I'm amazed at the numbers out here, the crowd and everybody. So, I mean, it's a good thing. And like I said, I mean, people can come over here and learn anything you need to know about bees and how to do it a little simpler and maybe a little more natural with the bees environment. And you can also, of course, check out our live with Monty a few weeks ago that we did on our channel at the Farm2Table Direct Show and get really in depth with what's going on with the bees in the world and those 5 principles. We broke them down and kind of really dug into them a little bit. But Monty, it was good visiting with you. We'll be seeing you around out here.
All right.
And listen, let's check this out. SuburbanSodbuster.com. He's also on YouTube, so you can get him there, Suburban Sodbuster, and you can follow along on his little journey with the bees and what he's up to and learn a lot. There's a lot of education out there just on that channel. So anyway, well, let's again, Monty, thank you for the time and thanks for hanging out with us.
All right, thank you.
All right, folks, we'll be seeing you here in just a little while with our next installment on our live here at Ozarks Homesteading Expo 2024.